Welcome to Nnpcl'S. This is Enterprise Television. Kingsley Bass is my name. Let's turn attention to the economy today. And of course, we look at the politics that play in the economy. And by that, I'm talking Nigeria's major revenue generation or generating part of the economy, if you like. The focal point of Nigeria's revenue generation in 2025, as we speak, has to be crude oil. And yes, we turn attention to the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, where in a dramatic overhaul of the company, the newly appointed management team, if you like, under the leadership of Bayo Ojulari, has sacked the managing directors of Nigeria's key refineries. I'm talking Port Harcourt, Warri, and Kaduna, reportedly. And this wave of dismissals, which also includes top-ranking executives and officials nearing retirement, follows growing concerns over poor performance and costly inefficiencies in refining or refinery operations. And the move comes on the heels of President Tinubu's replacement of former Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited leadership amid public dissatisfaction with refinery output, despite significant rehabilitation investment. Over time, there's been talks about how much we've put into maintaining a refinery that is churning out nothing. Well, you do know the story, I suppose, about the revival of the Port Harcourt refinery, the Warri refinery at some point too. And there's a growing debate about how what the capacity of those refineries now, and whether they are truly functional. You know, too, I like to believe the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited have over time insisted that those refineries are functioning. So what does this dismissal of refinery managing directors and top executives signal about the accountability culture within the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited? Let's get talking about this and more. I'm joined at this time virtually by one who knows about the workings of the Nigerian economy, and not just the Nigerian economy, but the global economy. He's an international finance and economic expert. I'm talking about Mukhtar Mohammed. Again, he joins me virtually today. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me, Kingsley. My pleasure.
Appreciate that. Let's get straight to business. You're a businessman. We're going to put that way. Talking finance. Well, before we talk, the economy and the economic side to this, what do you make of the restructuring happening now with the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited? Well, first, Mele Kyari was sacked. That came as some form of shock for some persons. For other persons, they say it was a long time coming. And now, reportedly, over 200 top brass have been sacked, including those who have just some 12 months to retirement.
Well, Kingsley, I think I've said it in one of your programs. The Nnpc is known as the Tower of Corruption. And me, I've told me it's more or less like the Tower of Babel in Nigeria, but this Tower of Babel have not been destroyed by any administration. Confusion has not been put in their midst. I think the current MD, current group managing director, is trying to do that now by putting confusion in their midst by changing the language. And so changing this language now is not changing those that are in authority. So for me, it's a good thing. If you look at the refinery you just mentioned, Port Harcourt Refinery, Warri Refinery, and also Kaduna Refinery, you can know the humongous sum of money we have put into that refinery. It was still in this your program some times ago. We talked about the Port Harcourt Refinery, whereby they're saying that it was coming to capacity. They did documentary everywhere. It was going to be full-blown in December. Up to this moment, it's still not what it is. And unfortunately, they still have connived. They still have connivance in some of these independent petroleum marketers that even went there and said, yes, Port Harcourt Refinery is ready to be loading and all that and that. But up to today, nothing has happened. For me, those refineries, they are long overdue to be sold to the public, to the private sector, for whoever wants to buy it as a scrap, rather than government putting billions of naira into it. Remember, the rehabilitation of this refinery started right from President Muhammadu Buhari time, during the time that you have the former petroleum minister, the former governor of Bayelsa State, the one-time governor of Bayelsa State, I think, Nnpcl'S, when he was the minister, and he said that it would be turned around. And from there, when he left that without turning around, he went to become the governorship aspirant of APC in Bayelsa State. I mean, after that, Mele Kyari came in. We thought that he was going to look at it, having been in the system for a very long time. But nothing changes. I think for me, you can't just be putting money into it's more or less like putting water in a basket. And that is what the Port Harcourt refinery, the Warri refinery, the Kaduna refinery has been. I think we have a private sector person there now, a fully private sector person. So he's looking at how to clear that road. I hope the president will give him all this backing to be able to do what is needful, rather than looking at the political angle of it. You mustn't forget, Kingsley, 2027 is around the corner.
Do you think this leadership shakeup can restore public trust, though, and that improve operational efficiency? That these various refineries we've mentioned, Port Harcourt, Warri, Kaduna, though I get your point. This should be sold. We should hand this completely over to the private sector, the more efficient and the rest. While the federal government, we don't know, is considering that now. We know that in the past it was sold to a consortium, a private consortium, and then they were refunded. We know of the story of the Yar'Adua administration. Well, while that is not the case now, there are no talks around that being sold, right? But do you think that this could, restore public trust in the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited?
Public trust, I think public trust will also come from the workers' trust. If anything we are hearing, if what we are hearing is anything to go by, we're told that the workers are very excited of the recent development in Nnpc, that they have taken those change of management as a good thing. They're excited about it. They are being happy about it. So if the workers in an organization become very happy with what is happening there, definitely there will be an overflow to the public space, and then people will begin to have confidence in what they are doing. So for me, it's just the beginning. What is not new, Kingsley, is that every group CEO that have come in, right from Mele Kyari to this thing, what he's doing is not new. They've always done it. What they do, they first of all clear up all the management team, Petroleum manager, they bring in all their management team, director of this, director of that, and that, and that. So what is happening now should not catch anybody by surprise. It's what is obtainable. That's Nigeria for you. So leadership is not about continuity.
Yeah, does that speak to the politics, in the entire space? There've been talks about cabals, about certain powerful forces stifling the economy, and not just stifling the economy, ensuring that they continue to have their way. With what you've said now, does this speak to that? Would this stronghold, from your point of view, continue?
Well, it's who is in power. Nigeria is not built around structure; it's built around men. And so if Nnpc'S was built around structure, you won't be seeing the kind of holistic changes that you are seeing now. Rather, the incoming groups, the new group CEO would have just seamlessly begin to carry out activities in that organization without any noise like what we are hearing now. So definitely, it's all about politics. It's all about when you go in there, you want to bring in your own men, because again, there's no structure. There's no, we have not built strong institution. We only build strong men. So the current group CEO will go in with his own strong men, and if they are able to achieve whatever they are able to achieve, that's what they will take with them. And if another group CEO comes, he comes in with his own strong men. For me, that's the way it has always been, and I don't see a departure from that yet.
We hear that some officials of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited nearing retirement were told to leave in this strategic cleanup, it's been called now. Do you think that is, fair enough? Do you think this move could risk losing international memory and experience?
Before. It's not the first time. What we should be saying is, there are times that happened. I remember also an oil price. So then the Department of Petroleum Resources, before it was unbundled into two. When President Buhari came in, I think he made he made somebody lower in cadre, the director of that department. And all others that were being due for retirement were asked to go even before their retirement days, but all their compensation or what was due them was given to them. And so, as long as what is due to them is given to them, I don't think there's any difference between going this year or going next year. You're already on your way out. And so this new guy doesn't want to deal with people that are on the way out. He wants people that will be there for the long term so that they will be able to drive his vision on what he wants to do. Just be ready. Very soon you see the inviting of journalists to come and listen to the group CEO vision for Nnpc, 8-point agenda, that and that, 3-4. So all these that you are seeing is towards that big press conference that we are expecting to happen any moment from now.
All right. Well, now that you've said that, interesting point of view, really. But we've seen these things happen. But would really do love to hear his vision and what he has to do, what he plans to do for the country. I mean, the country holds the major stake in the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited. I suppose that's why the Nigerian is still part of that. The name, if not, it would have been called, another thing. But yes, going forward, with the current structure of things, what reforms are necessary, Mukhtar, to ensure that future investment in refinery rehabilitation can yield tangible results for the Nigerian economy? And I'm very conscious with that question, so that it is not yielding result and profit for a few strongholds in the country.
Kisley, I've said it, and I'll say it. I don't know if I said it in your program before, but I'll say it over again. What the Nnpc needs now is corporate governance. We want to see corporate governance. We want to see where we are going to. We want to see those audited reports. We want to see audited report from Kaduna Refinery. We want to see forensic audits of what has gone on in those refineries before now. But you can't just say you're waiting for forensic audit and you're not bringing in audited report. At least let the forensic audit start from when you were not there. Then let's see what you're about to do now in terms of transparency, accountability, and corporate governance. They are key, especially when you look at it that Nnpc, the main goal before this time, this new administration came in, the old administration was already thinking of bringing Nnpc to the stock exchange in Nigeria. And so we expect that to happen. And for that to happen, to get investors to key into it, there must be these three core things I've said: transparency, corporate governance, and corporate governance, transparency, and that is what will attract more investors to want to invest in Nnpc. So as it stands now, what I expect from them is what I've just said: transparency, integrity, then corporate governance. Let's know where release Nnpc is. Nnpc really, let's know. It's not to declare it at 6 trillion in terms of profit at the end of the day. When you look at the variables, you are now saying that you cannot even support the federal government for the next 6 months. You have been given approval waiver not to remit money to the federation account because all this money has been used up. So what you have is paper profit. So we need to do a lot. We need to see through audited reports, and again from audited firm of international repute, so that the people are not saying, oh, this one is now another makeup style of audited. So for me, I think that's what I'm expecting. Once that is done, you see, Nnpc is the blood of the Nigerian economy. So once you begin to enjoy transparency in Nnpc, once you begin to see corporate governance in Nnpc, when you begin to see purposeful leadership in NNPC, it will transfer it into other aspects of the Nigerian economy. I can tell you, it's a snowball effect.
Yeah, think too, as we march forward with the structural reforms we're witnessing, as we march forward, there are lots of Nigerians, still looking backwards and saying, what happens with Mele Kyari and his time there as the boss at the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited? There are those calling for, you've mentioned, an audit of what was happened in the past, and some already calling for his prosecution, saying, there were definitely, corrupt practices there. This we cannot independently verify now, but I mean, again, a lot of Nigerians still looking back and saying, we definitely need to know what Mele Kyari did. We need to see the books, bring that forward, and ensure that we, bring to justice if there is, if there have been any foul play, whatsoever in the past. What do you say?
Well, I'm not an advocate of paper sensationalizing, paper judgment, or crucifying the people in the front pages of newspaper. I don't believe in that. So I think if the government have anything against it, once you see people start talking in the newspaper, front page of the newspaper, just be rest assured in this country, Kingsley, what it means that nothing is going to happen. When you know when things are going to happen, you will not even hear it in the front page of the newspapers. Because in the front page of the newspaper, you are trying to bring the person into public condemnation, because you know that if you take him to the court of law, you don't even have substantial evidence to take him to be able to get judgment over him. So I think what we need to do is we need to, in as much as we want the prosecution, the Attorney General of the Federation, I've said that there will be a forensic audit of NNPC. The Minister of Finance also have said that, but we can't be waiting for forensic audit of NNPC or charging people to court because somebody said they have committed this offense and the other. Remember, Mele Kyari has served two presidents, whether he served President Tinubu, he served President Buhari. So it will be an indictment of if you have so much monumental corruption and yet that man was still kept. Remember, before the board was asked to go, it's almost a month before the board was asked, the president praised him for his leadership role that he has played in NNPC. How he has brought a corporate governance to NNPC. Remember the auditor report, 5 years auditor report was released at the same time. How he has done this, he is the face of the new NNPC. He was well praised, but again, a month after the board was asked to go. So sometimes you want to bring people to prosecute them, people will definitely ask, is it just Naya? Remember, it's the same Mele Kyari that told us that they have been siphoned. There were about 100 pipeline. Is it the 100th point whereby they were siphoning fuel from NNPC, crude oil from NNPC pipeline? And then I was asking, and he said they have been doing it for years and years. You only discover when he became the group managing director. So there's a lot of questions that are begging for answer. But for me, I don't think, because if you look at these countries, it's exercise in futility when you begin to pursue what has happened before. Yeah, you don't need to look too much. Look at the NDDC report. You've forgotten the one Mr. Minister off your phone, Mr. Minister off your phone, with the kind of revelation we're getting there. At the end of the day, there was drama. The group ND of NDDC collapsed, and today, one of the key actors in that NDDC scandal is the number 3 citizen in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So how do you take such probe or everything serious? So for me, I'm not an advocate of taking them to court and going to do that and that, because at the end of the day, nothing has happened.
All right. Mukta Mohammed, international economic and finance expert, thank you so much for your thought and your time on the program. We've been talking about the major structural reforms happening within the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited under the new leadership of Ojulari and the board. Well, Mukta Mohammed, again, thank you for your time.
My pleasure always, Kingsley. Thank you for having me in your program.
Appreciate that. Well, that's Overhaul Politicals today. Stop by the comment section. Let's know what you think, and indeed what you have to say about the direction we're going with the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited. I'd really like to know if this structural reforms we're seeing, this sacking of the reported sacking of over 200 persons, 200 officials that the company. Do you think does this restore confidence? Does this restore your confidence in the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited? Well, until next time, make sure again to stop by the comment section. Let me know what you think. I'll be reading, I'll be watching as well, and responding to you. Kingsley Bass is my name. God continue to bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Bye for now.